Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, we've got 4 new decks for you, including 2 new Makkari decks, and what I think might be the best beta answer deck in all of Marvel Snap right now. But before we get to that, if you're looking for the giveaway, it's in yesterday's video. Make sure you check that out. That one has my favorite deck. Is that deck as good as the deck we're going to talk about today? I don't think so necessarily, but it is like my absolute favorite deck right now. So make sure you check out yesterday's video for the season pass and that. And today, we're going to start with a Regis Kilbin deck. Regis Kilbin is probably the biggest creator in Marvel Snap, and he came up with this really great idea that's got a really great win rate in Infinite that is basically saying, well, Makkari plays out of hand, so does Proxima Midnight. That's a free 11 power. And if we're discarding, then we can get Dakin to at least 8 power. So that's an extra 4 power that you're getting for free just for playing this list, right? That's going to make Strong Guy a 9 power. So you're getting all this free power. And most of it you can, besides Proxima, you can then pump with Surfer for a really powerful list. And that is extremely fun to play. If you'd like to check out Regis, you can check out youtube.com/@RegisKilbin. He's got like 300,000 followers. He's the biggest in the game. Dakin for this deck can be Shaw, Gladiator, or Polaris. Your best bet here, like Gladiator is probably your best replacement. Most of the time, Dakin is 8 power, which is, unless you're going to forge him, in which case he's going to be 12 power, which is a huge difference. That's the really only upside of having him over Gladiator. But Gladiator with that same card can get to 10 power without too much trouble. So a little bit of here, a little bit of there. Nocturne can be Polaris, Red Guardian, or Cosmo. Nocturne is just a good card in this list. It is here for bad locations. It's here to throw off where the power is going to be, but it's not an especially important card. This is specifically made for Makkari and Proxima, so this is for our friends that made Makkari a priority. Now, fair warning, for those of you who didn't get Makkari, don't worry about it. We got 2 non-Makkari decks for you today. And for those of you who are on the fence about getting Makkari, we've got a bunch of top players later on in this video with their thoughts on Makkari. Alright, so this won 56% in 300 Infinite games. So turn 1, you pass unless Blade will hit Proxima. Turn 2 is generally speaking Forge, although you'll happily Blade off Proxima there too. And Forge is meant to go into Brood or Dakin. If you do not have Brood or Dakin, I prefer to save Forge to 5 because there's not really a 5-drop you want, and then your turn 5 will be Forge and Brood or Dakin. Nocturne and Strong Guy are generally good, and you Sif if you're guaranteed to hit Proxima. Turn 4 is the same basic thing as turn 3, except now you're not brooding and docketing, obviously. Turn 5, Forge and Brood or Dakin. If not, you're doing the same as earlier plays, and then turn 6 is Swordmaster or Gambit and Surfer. Don't be afraid to drop Swordmaster if the cards in hand are not Surfer or terribly important that you don't mind discarding. Again, you're getting a massive amount of free power with this list. You've got Makkari for that free 4, that could be a 6. Dakin for that free 4, that can be an extra 6, an extra 8, whatever else with Surfer. You've got Gambit removing power, Strong Guy becoming a 3/9, that can become a 3/11, etc., etc., etc. This list is very cool, very powerful. This is the most fun Makkari list, although yesterday's Surfer list, I've maintained a 67% win rate with, and a huge cube rate. I think that list is better than this list, bluntly. The Moon Girl Surfer, but I think this list is, like, significant. This is one of the most fun things in Marvel Snap. Please hit that sub button. We bring you more decks than anyone, at least 4 new decks every single weekday. We also cover everything in Marvel Snap, all the news, all the important stuff that you would miss if you weren't subscribed to this channel that does a video every single day, 7 days a week, at least 3 decks every day except Saturday. Saturday, you get a 2-hour podcast with Marvel Snap's best players and brightest personalities. Hit that like, hit that comment, watch as long as you can. Help us grow, spread the word. We'd appreciate it. All right, this is the deck I was talking about earlier. Raven played a ton of games with this, like 30 or 40 games with this, and got a 76% win rate. This is already hitting the top of the Infinite leaderboard. This is legit. So the Infinite Magneto Red Hulk stuff with Blade and Black Knight is like the most power you can get, but the shell for that is probably no longer Hela, because Hela is just counterable right now. If you don't discard Infinite, I think Hela kind of falls apart. This deck does not have that problem. Meanwhile, a lot of the things that counter all those decks, like the zoo decks and the zoo and the word is escaping me, bounce decks that are all over the place, Sandman will help you counter while you can still put all your massive power on the board. It's a thing of beauty, this list. You need to try this out. You can find Ravencast at twitter.com/Ravencast. Great player. Really nice person. Black Knight and Blink are required. Ms. Marvel can be Omega Red and isn't terribly worse for this particular list. Jeff can be Medusa or Nightcrawler. I am strongly considering Domino in this list for Jeff, and I know that seems crazy. Everyone's sitting there yelling at me, you're less likely to see Infinite, you're less likely to see Sif. Right. But I've got multiple discard cards, right? What I'm more likely to see, the only thing I'm more likely to see with Domino, as it's been explained to me, I'm an English teacher, not a math teacher, is you're more likely to draw one. And if I'm more likely to draw Blade and Black Knight, then I feel like I'm more likely to win. That's what I'm looking at for this. If anyone thinks I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I think it's at least worth considering, especially if you don't have Jeff. Jeff is just so good. It's hard to cut Jeff. Red Guardian can be Nocturne, Gladiator, Polaris. Red Guardian is basically any old good 3 that you feel like running. Red Guardian could even be armor if you feel like protecting your big stuff. Ooh, you know what Red Guardian could be? Luke Cage, because some of you will be worried about Black Knight and Shadow King. So how much Shadow King is in your meta? If so, Luke is probably a good replacement too. All right. So 31 and 10 plus 50 cubes is Raven's win rate with this. And then this is one of the highest high infinite win rates. We're talking infinite top 10%, where it's got a 62% win rate, which is like absolutely crazy at high infinite. This is real. This deck is the real deal that you should absolutely be checking out. I think this, again, might be the best, or at least one of the very, very top of the best decks in Marvel Snap. Turn 1, Black Knight, you blade if you can hit Infinite or Magneto. I'm mostly blading if I can Infinite. Without Black Knight, I'd probably rather wait on Magneto, but it's close. Depends if I have that Ghost Rider in hand. Turn 2, Jeff, or one of the turn 1 plays. Again, there's only one 2-drop, that's why I was thinking perhaps Domino. Turn 3, Lady Sif, if it's hitting, again, one of those big cards, or Red Guardian. Red Guardian is almost always has a really good target by turn 3. Feel free to just fire it off. You can also do one of the turn 1 or 2 plays perfectly fine. Turn 4, if you've got a heavy discarded card, feel free to Ghost Rider or drop that shard. You can also, if you don't have either of those, just drop Ms. Marvel. Turn 5, if you played Ghost Rider last, or you had to play a 3 last, then you drop Blink. If not, you're going to drop Sandman. Sometimes Sandman's an auto win. You'll know the matches. Are they the type of deck that's going to have to play like 4 or 5 cards to end the game? If so, please just Snap and Sandman, and they'll run. And then turn 6, you play Red Hulk or Magneto, or a 4 plus a 2, that 4 being the Shard or Ghost Rider generally, but sometimes Ms. Marvel and Jeff are great here. Ms. Marvel and Jeff, reminder, are more power than just playing a Doctor Doom. Meanwhile, Red Hulk, if it's grown big enough, or Magneto, if it's disruptive enough, can it be the play? This list is, once more, an absolute beast. Please play this list. If you are struggling to get Infinite, if you are trying to climb in Infinite, if you would like to get some Infinity borders, not Infinity borders, I guess at this point, Infinity tickets, go grab this list. If you've got the cards, hopefully you bought Blink. I begged everyone to buy Blink. Blink is going to be meta forever. You need Blink, you need Black Knight. You can sort of do without the rest. Oh, Red Hulk, I guess. What could Red Hulk be? I guess you kind of need Red Hulk for this list, sorry. So the reason you need Red Hulk is you want a third really big thing, but you need one that you can just sort of drop if you've discarded Magneto, and Infinite ain't it. So I guess that could be, why can I remember this card? Giganto is a perfectly fine replacement, I guess. Ugh. But I'd really prefer not. I'd want to be able to drop my big power wherever I want and not have it telegraphed to that extent. Although I guess it's a different type of telegraphing because Red Hulk is telling you your opponent how much power. So a little bit A, a little bit of B. Red Hulk's also really solid to discard 2 triggers, right? By turn 3, which is fairly often, and you can just sift it off, and then you have a 16 power Black Knight shard, or 16 power you can bring back with Ghost Rider. Whatevs. This deck is sick. Play this deck. You will not be sad you did. Hey, if you want some gameplay for these, check out the stream team. Today is Thursday, which means the great Tuccrr is actually going to be streaming at 9 or 10 tonight with these decks. Go check out Tuccrr. Check out the Pirate King. Tell him I sent you. Tomorrow and Saturday will both be FaThorNewman days, who's also going to be on the podcast. So if you like Newman, you're about to get lots of Newman. If you want to check out yesterday's decks, check out GamingwithFlashX, who also streamed those. Sorry, he has a YouTube video with those, if that's not clear. All right, Next up, we have our second Makkari deck. This is Den's Jeff Ramp 2. I called it Jeff Ramp 2 because he's using Makkari basically as a second Jeff. This deck is sort of built around Electro, and sometimes you get an Electro and Ebony Maw, and it's sort of like your opponent thinks that they have that lane, and Jeff and Makkari can ruin that noise pretty damn well. This is a very cool, very powerful list. Den has access to Marvel Snap Zone stats. This is the deck he built, and this is thus far on Snap Zone the highest win rate, or at least as of recording, the highest win rate Makkari deck on Snap Zone. Cool. All right, so you can find Den at twitter.com/Den_CCG. He's also the head writer at Snap Zone, does the tier list, all that good stuff. Nebula for this list can be Nightcrawler or America Chavez. You don't lose too much from that. Jeff is absolutely needed because Electro. Makkari can be Wave. Makkari's goal here is to be a second Jeff, but Wave is perfectly fine. I could also feasibly play Nocturne here. Blink and Sersi aren't needed. Sersi is sort of like what's giving Ramp this revival. Blink was almost there, and Sersi takes it the rest of the way. You just wanted 5s to play for when you miss your Electro. So turn 1 is Nebula better than Maw. Turn 2, Nebula is better than Maw, is better than Jeff. I know it seems like you wouldn't want to play Maw, but you do. Electro is your goal on turn 3, and if you can't, then you're going to drop the turn 2 plays. If you played Electro, you want to Blink or Sersi. If you did not play Electro, you want to play Jubilee. If by turn 4 you did not see Electro or Jubilee, please run immediately. You will not be winning this game. Turn 5, Sandman. If you played Jubilee, you're playing Blink or Sersi on that Jubilee to get something nice and big. If you played Electro, you're getting Doom, or you're just dropping Doom or Leader on turn 5. If you drop Doom or Leader on 5, please Odin that on turn 6 to win the game. Or you can just drop a Leader or Doom after Sandman or Sersi and try and win that way. Either which way, this deck puts a massive amount of power on the board with more control than it looks like and surprising amounts of power coming from the Makkaris and Jeffs of the world. Very cool list. Oh, also, turn 6 play. If you need to on turn 6, you can also drop Sersi and Jeff, which is very powerful, or Blink and Jeff, both of which are very powerful, even after an Electro, obviously only after an Electro, so you have that extra energy. Very cool deck, very powerful, worth checking out. Is this as good as the last deck? Hell no. Is this as good as the deck before? Yeah, probably around similar power. I, again, personally think yesterday's Makkari deck is the best I've played thus far. All right, top players' thoughts on Makkari. Avazord thinks it's mid, not bad, not a meta breaker. Avazord is the top player in Brazil, often sits near the top of the leaderboard, but tends to like very controlling cards. Not surprising, Makkari is not his type of card. KX4N, a top 100 player, who will be on the podcast coming soon, says easy skip. Tanjo, number 1 player last season, number 2 several other seasons, says better than everyone thought, but not enough to be good. But says, But is in the top 4 of the Snap Joseph League, former top 5 player in Marvel Snap, better than I expected, still mid, boring card, goes in Sandman decks, which I find not fun. If you like Sandman, that's where you're considering Makkari. So FaThorNewman really likes Makkari. I spelled Spyro Cypro. That's funny. Spyro, the great Spyro, says not very good, nice and simple. And W says the first card of months I'm skipping. W is the best deck builder in Marvel Snap. So, youch. There is, however, one top player who likes it, and it is FAK Mulwin, who plays really, really different decks. He won the latest Lambie Open and was top 4 2 seasons ago. Literally rank 4 2 seasons ago. FAK Mulwin is great and plays really different stuff. So, this is what he has to say. It's hard for me to summarize his pros and cons. I have so far had time to try a Moon Girl combo, took an infinite ticket, and for fun in C4. It's very useful to unload your hand if you need to skip moves and collect combos at the same time. Occasionally, about a third of the time, manage to hit close locations at a strength greater than Jeff's, which has value. I wouldn't say the card has downsides, just the reasons put in deck are pretty questionable. I love that sentence. I wouldn't say the card has downsides. This is not a downside, it's perfectly fine. It's just, should you run it? Because there's plenty of perfectly fine cards. Hopefully I'll come to something rather than pumping up the classics. And I've got that Mulwin deck. That will be the tomorrow highlighted Makkari list. Cool. For those of you who would like that list, just wait one more day. I haven't had a chance to test it yet. I got to test it, even though I won an Infinity board. I did have time to test this. I took it to one game of an infinite ticket, and then the last one I was trying to watch the Power On tournament and lost. And then I went like 10-3 or something silly with this list. This list is sweet. It is very, very good. If you are not getting hit with Killmonger, this is freaking incredibly hard to beat. It sort of folds a little bit to Killmonger, although I did manage to beat a couple of Killmonger decks with it. In Conquest, I don't think I could on Ladder. unless I knew damn sure they had Killmonger, and then it's fairly often a run. This is the descendant of the Slayer Blade decks, where it's using, instead of Professor X, it's using Debris and Absorbing Man and Green Goblin to set up its Cannonball to win the damn game. It still puts out an insane amount of power. It's still really good and worth playing. Alright, so Varsov Panda made this, and I got it from It's Guest Gaming. The great It's Guest Gaming. We love Guest. Check out Guest on Twitch and It's Guest Gaming, or on YouTube. Guest is a king. Alright, so Nebula, Widow, and Jeff are your good cards. Good cards can always just be swapped for other good cards. Prime Medusa, Nightcrawler, Mordo, Iceman, Cable, Nocturne, even. Any of those are perfectly fine. If you don't have Sage, you're okay with Wolfsbane or Havoc for this list. Sage is great, but I keep being told most people skip Sage. Well, I told you, if you like bounce and mini decks, then Sage is a must-have. So I don't know what to tell you. All right, this might be the deck we're looking for, as far as like, if you're looking for, this has beaten fairly easily. I'm not having a whole ton of trouble beating Zoo decks with this. Like, this is only really weak to those Killmonger Surfer decks. Outside of those, it doesn't have very many bad matchups. It's a ton of power. Turn 1, Nebula over Kitty. Turn 2, Ravonna is your priority over Angela Thena over Widow Jeff. I tend to prefer Jeff over Widow, but it could go either way. Turn 3 is 2 cards if you Thena, and it's possible. Sometimes if you played Ravonna, Thena and like Angela, or Thena and like Jeff are those 2 plays. And if you didn't do any of that stuff, Debris and Goblin are fine. You're just trying to clog them. Absorbing Man on Debris is great here, or you can do 2 cards to build power. Remember that also, if you can also Absorbing Man Sage, perfectly fine. Turn 5 tends to be Sage and another card. You're trying to make yourself a big Sage. That's sometimes Kitty, sometimes that's Widow, in a lane that they seem like they're just playing 1 or 2 big cards in, so you can get that -4, and then that's an extra +2 on Sage. And then turn 6, if you did the Sage thing, Absorbing Man plus a 2 to copy Sage. Or you can play Cannonball and Kitty. Either which way works fine. And then you win, because this deck is really, really powerful. Please play this list. I saved it to the end, so only the real ones got this extremely cool list. Check it out. Hey, if you're a real one and want to try and compete with the best players in Marvel Snap on June 23rd, June 30th, and there are open qualifications for Snap Masters 3. The group stage is on July 9th, and the finals on July 28th. So if you can make those for a $350 prize pool, check it out. Also, if you like tournament play, we've got some tournament play on It's Guest Gaming this Sunday. I'll tell you more about that in tomorrow's video. All right, Snapmasters top 4. We got Sizer, Spyro, FK Dravar, and FK I Lost Son already in. Also invitees, Johnson, Twitch Iram, Tori-kun, Desmond, Lammy Series W, Browtha, and Husky Puppies 35. That is some of the biggest names in Marvel Snap. There's one more invite to be announced. And then we've got 6 frickin' people that are going to join these monsters to compete for the prize. If you're interested, again, the link is in the description to this video. We've got so much cool stuff in the description of the video. You should totally check that out. Question of the day, and then we out. Summer Jams wants my X-Men 97 thoughts. So I'm wearing an X-Men 97 shirt that my wife got me, because my wife is the best. My X-Men 97 thoughts are that it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. It's made exactly for Mantris, and I absolutely adore it. Don't sleep on it because it's a cartoon. If you have the allegory for January 6th in like the 2nd episode, blew my head off. I was just not expecting it, and I laughed so hard. It was perfect. Episode 5 is one of the best episodes of television ever. I didn't love the ending as much as I loved the rest. I thought it got a little too close to we get stronger because we believe we get stronger. But outside of that, it was nearly perfect. I absolutely adored it. Honda Bob is curious if Second Dinner needs a pro to balance the game. I think they're brilliant at balance. This is the best balance game I've ever played by far. They don't want perfect balance. They want different. They don't want to achieve a state of perpetual sameness, right? They're not trying to find a perfectly equal meta where everything is powerful as everything else. They're trying to create an ever-shifting meta where a bunch of different decks and cards are viable, and they fundamentally, outside of like the Thanos hell, almost always succeed. They are brilliant at this. If you're looking for them to be like, they've nerfed this and nothing else is great, that is not their goal. They want a shifting, evolving meta that creates a sense of discovery, and they do a good enough job that I can find 4 new decks, or 3 or 4 new decks every single day. All right, Kertix Lee wants to know my favorite LGBTQ+ book in honor of Pride, and it's Sister Outsider by Ultra Lord. It's a book of essays. I absolutely love it. It's moving, powerful, brilliant. The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House is one of my favorite essays. If you haven't read it, check it out. You can find it online. All right. Aleph Elf? Let's go with Aleph Elf. As my favorite X-Men villain, since Magneto is right, because Magneto is not a villain 99% of the time. Okay. So it's Nimrod, based on the current era of Krakoa and stuff. I absolutely love the concept of human versus machine versus mutant as like a competition for the future. I think it's brilliant and wonderful, and I adore it. So it's probably Nimrod. As a kid, I would have said it's Apocalypse. I think Apocalypse is really interesting, but I don't think Apocalypse says anything really interesting about the X-Men or their themes, while Nimrod often does. So it's Nimrod. All right. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. If you're interested in our Patreon, check out patreon.com/snapjudgments. I'd like to say thank you to Abigail Heaslin, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, Irregardless, David J. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, FaThorNewman. Hey, again, FaThorNewman. Good Dog Gamer, This Is the Way, Inc. I Am Frostman, Jane Evereed, Doomer Mavs. Let me know which name you prefer, Doom. Caretix Lee, Koire, Pyrofros, The Goat Seeker, Denman Falcon, check him out on YouTube. Doc T, the king of new card content, Fat Nick, Doku, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, aka Bracko, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, X-Force V and Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist of Snap Judgments League Season 1 Victory fame, King of Bros, bruh, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Ryan Wood, Woody, Kev Cihoda, Lunacris, Louis Antunes, Mod Supreme Models, the one and only Darth Vader, Remus Atala, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrum Mix, Who, Matt H., Mikey Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, Mr. Greg Sterry, Pretty Damn Chill, Seamus, Jonesy, Two Ties. Gotta get me that deck, Two Ties. The Pirate King, Tuccrr. The Homie Min. And of course, Gunny T, where this T stands for, hey, he'll be on the podcast releasing this Saturday, too. So it's Gunny T, it's FaThorNewman. I'm not telling you who the third special guest is, but it's someone pretty damn cool. So wrong button. So stay tuned. That's it. We done here. I'm gonna go watch the rest of this tournament and try and pass out. Peace.